sky. Well, you cry out and you don't know why. Come on now, let your feet fly. Come on now, let's go for a ride. Come on now, let your feet fly.
Welcome to the Red Couch. I'm Izzy, or Joe Izzy Dakota Jones, and this is
Ash Wednesday, and we got our buddy Ned on the Red Couch with us.
Yes, and Ned writes poetry, and he's got some books out. Yes. So Ned, how long have you been doing poetry?
I am 45 now. I started at the age of 17.
Wow.
I wrote and drank for 5-6 years, had a psychotic break, busted up a relationship, and kind of went to recovery, and I didn't write for 10 years. I was in and out of sobriety. And after, I've been sober for 13 years nearly, and after 5 years of sobriety, no, 3 years of sobriety, I wrote this one.
Right on.
Came out of all of a piece, really.
Yeah. That's great. So in each of the books, how many poems do you got? Like,
No. Let's see.
That's one Joe stole off me.
Yeah. Probably about 50.
wow. So when we were talking before we started, and you said you got 3 out,
2 out.
2 out.
2 in the wings.
2 in the wings, wow. So you constantly keep going. It just keeps inspiring you to keep writing, eh?
Yeah, well, you know, I was kind of in a dry spell, and then I met someone, and she kind of shook me up a bit, and I started writing poems to her. And it was really nice because I would write a poem every week, and I would give it to her, send it to her, and they were really well received, so it was a really nice dynamic. She was like my muse.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. I like what I like about the book too. It's also the artwork is great. Like this is the city, right? You know, it's Vancouver.
Yeah,
right?
Darwin took that picture actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's how I phrase it. Because I wrote the book waiting for this bus.
That's great. That's good.
That's awesome.
Should I read something from it?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the one that everybody likes, and maybe they'll hate it this time. But, we'll see.
You'll love it.
Okay. Calgary Stampede. I hitched a lift east from Golden with a tough guy in a full-length gray pickup and unmarked blue ball cap. The conversation got around to Nanaimo, where I'd recently been, and the Hells Angels there, whose influence he credited with order and prosperity, all the while dropping the hell from their name. The trip went quickly. It's not a long trip. I had a plan of getting in touch with a relative I had in Calgary, see if I could start something over there. I was let off at a gas station, made the habitual collect call, and convinced someone to wire money. I dread these phone calls. They are dishonest, guilt-ridden, only forgotten by the drinking they facilitate. That sorted out, I went directly to the nearest beer and wine, and was pleased to find that liquor is cheap in Alberta. I had cash to last a couple of days, and found a secluded spot on a hill leading down to a ravine from the side of the parade road. Settled in for the phenomena with enough space and dignity to keep me going for a while. I remember the grasses, straggly trees, good weather. I enjoyed the slope and the sounds of goings-on from street level, drifting down to my camp. There's nothing quite like those isolated drinking spots. I've known many: car parks, beaches, forests, alleys, or hidden under people's verandas or in their tool sheds, even in the middle of a Halifax winter. Once I downed 60 ounces of scotch mixed with lamp fuel in a cabin I set on fire and tried to fall asleep. Sometimes it's better than being in a place you pay for. the drug giving a fluidity and stateliness to the mind, a great sense of place as long as it lasts. And of course, sometimes it's pure unadulterated hell or botched suicide. But now I was at the Calgary Stampede, or near it anyway, for 2 days and nights overlooking the ravine, festivities carrying on above and money slowly running out. When it was time to move on, I looked up at my relative, the son of the second adoptive father of my adoptive father. It had been more than 10 years and he was happy to hear from me. I gave him the intersection and he drove over to pick me up right away. Getting in the car, I apologized for a stench I didn't smell but was sure of, and he said, "No problem, it's like that when you're traveling," but asked me to bathe on arriving at his house before meeting the family. The visit began well enough. He and his wife, astute and welcoming, made a fine dinner with red wine, so that I could stay as long as I wanted. I said my family was lousy and lied about serious things, which in turn made them worse. I slept on a camping mat in the living room, remembering as I fell asleep the 40 in my backpack, which I nipped out in the bathroom after breakfast during next morning's shower. Then again, only half concealed in the backyard. I had already decided to leave. Truth is, I never make it anywhere but Vancouver. It seems to be the only place I work my nightmares clean. So after the beer, the shower, and the backyard, I said I thought I'd go back. He drove me to the highway, going just so far, he said, to work for both of us. No hard feelings, but some hard, accurate words. Better the evil you know, he said. His eyes went into something broken or unrealized. He played guitar but didn't sing because of back trouble. Couldn't draw enough air, yet his wife loved him, and his beautiful daughter too. There was a sign on a bus shelter as we drove out of town. It read, "Abomination." There are signs like that in Calgary. Hitchhiking back was bad, not in terms of getting rides, but in terms of who was offering them. Really off-kilter, dangerous people I had to fend off, mentally at least, which almost stopped me from hitchhiking later, at least in Western Canada. I don't remember getting back to Vancouver, or what I did then, or if any of it was decent at that time or any time soon after. And there were other longer, more unpleasant trips, lots of them. Though strangely the worst, and also the worst things I've done that have disfigured me, have been done sober. Somehow it is only these that sink under my skin and find shelter in some entropic vein.
Cool. Wow.
Bravo.
Wow, yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit long.
Yeah, but it's good though. It's good, yeah.
But like the thing is with that book is that it's like I just like kind of gestated and I was like it just came and it was like shining a light on 10 years of vagrancy and alcoholism, drug addiction, failed love. But it was lifting them up. It wasn't sort of indulging in them.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. And how do you, it's amazing how you put the words together. You know, I'm really, the way you fit all those words in, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
That poem, I was convinced I was at Fraser Street and I was like, I'm going to kill myself. I had enough of this shit. And I sat down and meditated for an hour without moving. I got up and went downstairs to the computer and wrote that poem in like half an hour.
No shit.
Yeah.
That Fraser Street.
Yeah.
Wow.
The whole book was written at Fraser Street.
Oh yeah, waiting for the bus at Fraser Street.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right on.
So is that part of the puzzle? Like, does the poetry help you fucking rinse those demons out?
Yeah, I find it's like it gives me a foundation for my mind. Because my mind, with the mental problems that I have, it's just like these thoughts, cycling and cycling and cycling and cycling. And when I can get the right words in the right order, it's like my mind has an opportunity to rest on that foundation.
Cool.
To sit on those words.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Very structured. Way to go.
So what was it in the end? Why'd you give up your beautiful life of vagrancy and alcoholism?
Oh, I was headed for some serious trouble. The misfortune that preceded my homelessness involved a lot of darkness and a lot of nastiness and a fair amount of abuse of the humankind. And it just started to go berserk. And in fact, I can read another one, but because what happened is I drank and I drank and I stole and I stole and I ran and I ran. And I'm a fairly decent guy, so I didn't really fuck anybody around. But it got really dark to the point where I decided that I needed to kill myself. And I wrote that one about intervene, which I can also read if you'd like.
Go right ahead.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a poem. I was living in Toronto, and
That's not easy on anybody.
Toronto's a tough place.
but
Weather sucks,
Dude.
yeah.
especially in the winter time.
But yeah, I just decided that I needed to jump into Niagara Falls.
Oh, your place.
Yeah.
Your neighborhood.
My hometown.
Yeah, because that's a fucked up place, Niagara Falls.
Dude, I've been there, I know.
This guy came and was telling me about all the murders that had occurred there just before I jumped off the bridge.
Oh, good.
He had a hair lip. Whenever things got really heavy, somebody with, no offense to people with hair lips, but people with hair lip would show up at just this crux of time, and I'd be just like, the other thing I want to say about this is that, like, I went there to kill myself.
Niagara Falls.
To Niagara Falls, and I got a cheap motel room. I dragged myself into a frenzy, and I went out and looked at the water. And I remember this voice saying in my head, "If you don't do it now, you're gonna regret it." And I didn't do it, and I didn't do it, and I didn't do it. And I was trying to build up the courage. And I was by the police station, and all these crows started cawing like, so loudly, and I just bolted for the bridge. And I felt like I was finally taking my life in my hands.
Well, you were. Maybe not the most positive way.
So here we go. It's called Intervene. I jumped from a bridge into the Niagara River on a bright February afternoon.
Cold.
It was cold as hell, and the crows were frenzied when the man with the hair lip briefed me on murder. I followed a dark horse, aware of breathing. Maybe not. There was in falling an ascendant peace too heavy for space. Don't look over your shoulder, unwavering as I hurtled from the rail. Plunged in and shot to the surface gasping, voices calling me from shore. Man, woman, dog, saw them as I fell. Claw cold water till I lose consciousness. A torrent of electrodes tears a ragged scream from my throat. Nothing has names yet. People cover me like insects. I was in the river. Maybe I will draw the crocus and vole of spring, emerging from the teeth of the earth, word of mouth, for a warm breeze and a choked song, watching, waiting, adjusting to the light. And when the sun sinks from the sky, I give my anxiety to the night, settle into undulation, the stills and tosses in the water lit by the moon, a forecast for tomorrow, the law of today, the lack of a luminous glint on our troubled path by the highway. The idol is a wrecking yard, and the hospital can't hold you, nor Mother Nature, though she is softly pursued, as we carry out in waking some of what we have in dreams. A luminous inner body through which bitter nettles seep, poised to enter the sun-ruled world and fall apart without end.
Yeah. Wow.
It's beautiful. It's fucking pretty grim. You walk in and go, oh, that Donald Duck painting's pretty dark, Ash. Can I read you a couple poems?
No, but it's good though.
Oh,
it's so
yeah,
good.
it's good.
No, it's good because, you're getting, I was talking earlier to one of my guitar players in my band, and we were talking about writing songs, like poetry and stuff, and how dark times are right now. Like things are very dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Things are very dark, and right. What you're doing is you're pointing it all out. Like that's how things are. Like in a lot of ways right now, right? Yeah. But that's interesting. That's really interesting. I'm amazed at how well you put the words together.
Well,
I keep saying that, but it frames the whole thing so well. How do you do that?
I
How do you get the words
had a
to
good
come so-
education.
You did, eh?
I left home when I was 15. I went to Africa for a year,
Oh, wow.
and I came back, and I finished high school at a place called Seed Alternative,
Great.
which was modeled on Summerhill in Britain, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, I know, because like the university education I received afterwards wasn't superior to the education I received there. It
Right.
was on the same level.
Yeah, cool.
And
yeah.
I met my mentor there, and went into I was taking a creative writing class. He's like, Ned, I think you want to write poetry. And I was like, I don't know, this was was fucking around. I used to smoke pot and like pretend I was a beatnik and beat on a drum and
Sure.
mumble some shit sometimes. But anyway, I went into his poetry class, and he just like, he had a bookshop that was, all of the people who worked there were from school.
Yes.
So it was just us kids like working at
Yeah,
the bookshop.
yeah.
And he paid us in books.
Oh,
Well,
cool.
So we got really books. And I was really into this guy named Ludwig Zeller, who was
where's that? Ottawa?
Toronto.
Toronto.
Ludwig Zeller was a Chilean poet of German descent who did surrealist poetry and collages. And I was obsessed with this guy. I read everything he ever wrote. And but Luciano, who was my mentor, he just he really guided me. And I read like the classics, and I got into what with time I was really into like surrealism and Dada. But like he like channeled my energies for like half of a decade, and it was really productive.
That's cool.
And I did like I said, I mean, I drank religiously, so it was the religion was drinking and maintaining that sort of like poised drunkenness where you're really fluid of mind. You can still be accurate and alert, and try to have that happen for as long as possible. But eventually, it took me down.
Yeah, interesting. But so from all that education you had, that helps you piece the stuff together, am I correct?
Well, it's just like if you're a musician, you know that if you listen to music really intently for years and years and years, you learn from it.
Yes.
So I read and read and read for years and years and years, and I learned from it.
Yeah.
And I did some workshops in university. There was only two, it was beginners and advanced. But I did a couple of poetry workshops in university as well. And Luciano, who's passed now, Luciano Iacobelli was a great poet from Toronto, and also like a real organizer, truly good human being. And he had a press called Lyrical Miracle, and he did a chapbook for me called Water in the Ocean's Basement, which I didn't even have a copy of. I asked his son after he died if he would give me a copy. He said, "No, we can't part with them, sorry." So I don't have a copy of myself anymore, but that was my first publication.
Wow. Very cool, very cool.
And how'd you end up in Japan?
Oh, interesting. Then you end up in Africa, of all places.
How'd you end up in that?
Well, I kind of want to know about Africa, because Africa's a cool place. Whereabouts, South
I
Africa?
don't know, it's a cool place. I was a cynical, like, you know how Nick Cave says he's like a nasty little bugger when he was young?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not as tall as Nick Cave, but I was a cynical little bugger. And I was just drinking, and I didn't really go out to school, but I had no like interest in doing anything anymore. And so my elder sister was with this South African guy, so I just went with them to South Africa.
Oh, okay.
And lived with them, but they had kind of a toxic relationship, so after 6 months of being there, I learned a lot of shit. Like I worked in a produce market with a bunch of black dudes, so I learned a lot about Africa firsthand.
Cool.
I wasn't like cloistered away in a little white community.
Yeah.
We were like slumming it sort of. And it sounds horrible. I don't mean slumming with the black, that's not what I mean. I just mean
I know
like
what you mean.
economically, we were not hanging out at Stellenbosch Gardens and attending
You were living the real life.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And then I just had enough of living with him, and there was an abusive relationship, and I just got tired of looking at it. So I went off on my own. I hitchhiked. I went to Swaziland. Went to Zimbabwe, hitchhiked for a couple of months, and then spent a few weeks doing a walkabout in Tanzania.
Holy smoke.
And I kept a diary then, but I
Getting wasted the whole time?
no, actually,
Not there,
I wasn't alcoholic yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kind of graduated to alcoholism, like became a pickle, as they say in AA, like when I was like 18 probably. Probably when I was traveling to.
How old were you when you were in South Africa?
I was 16.
16, yeah.
And I was
So you're
18
young.
when I went to Latin. I hitchhiked from Toronto to Mexico, and then went down to Latin America. And I just drank. I mean,
But you've been everywhere. You've been in a lot of places.
I've been in a few places.
Yeah. And those experiences must be help you with your writing. Have you ever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. You know what? You're like those. You know, really, you're like those real poets that live life. You've gone a lot of places in the world and experienced that. That's amazing. When you're talking this story, oh, I was here, I've been there, but then I'm like, holy smoke.
Yeah. Little catcher in the rye too.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, right?
But I was in Japan in 2019 because immediately, the last year of university, I was doing, it's called Western Society and Culture, it's what they call like a great books curriculum. And I kind of like cheesed off on it. Like I would just pay attention to what made sense for my writing and my sensibility. I wouldn't really pay attention to everything. And because you're only ever required to know a certain amount, you can get away with that kind of stuff. What's the point here?
Japan.
Yeah. My last year of university, I took a course called Zen in the Modern World, taught by a guy named Dr. William Byers, who was a professor of mathematics at Concordia.
Because this is you.
Like it was the real thing. Like finally, I got to something that I couldn't just go get drunk and think, oh, this is better than what I'm learning in school. It was like, no, this is real. This is deep shit.
This is deep shit. Yeah.
And it startled me, like out of this complacency of feeling intellectually there already or something. And I had stopped drinking to move in with my girlfriend, but I was smoking like 15 joints a day at the time. So I was out of my tree, but I could still pay attention enough to realize that this meant something to me. And so that experience, along with some other experiences, meditating with a girlfriend who grew up in a Shambhala home, and then later at Tassajara when I was hitchhiking in San Francisco, as soon as I made my first attempt at getting sober, I immediately did Zen meditation. It was the first thing that I did. I just knew that it was what I wanted to do. So I've been doing it for like over 20 years. Just the first 10 years were off and on because I was sober only some of the time. For the last 13 years, I've been doing it steadily. And I got into sitting with a group in Washington, and I made the horrific and unforgivable mistake of chuckling at a border guard. And as a result, I can no longer go to the States unless they'll just forget about me again and I can go. But so I decided to go to the monastery's home, to the organization's home base, the temple in Japan in 2019.
Wow.
5 months, probably the most fulfilling 5 months of my life. I would have stayed indefinitely, but I had a run-in with a sadist, and it spoiled the experience for me. I ended up just jumping ship.
Interesting, eh? And it's an interesting trip when you do the Zen thing, right?
Yeah.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
So, I meditate that way too.
Oh, okay.
And it takes you down a real interesting road.
Yeah.
It's to a lot of truth.
Yeah.
And truth for yourself. But the interesting thing is complications set in all the time. But that's all part of it at the end of the day, you know? I remember I was telling Nash once, I'd go to sit with the monk, because he would sometimes, they interview you and ask you how you doing and stuff. So I went once and, I said to the Reverend Martin was the guy's name. I says, Reverend Martin, my dog died, my cat died.
Is that the guy just off Victoria Drive?
That's right. Do you know Reverend Martin?
Venerable Martin, yeah.
Yeah. So I said, my cat died, my dog died, this died, that died. He goes, so how was your meditation today, Joe? But my dog died, my cat died. But Joe, how was your meditation today? He just keep going back to that. And then one day it just light went on in my head. I'm like, okay. You don't want to hear any of that shit anymore. He just wants to know if I'm following the practice, right? And he was really a good guy. Yeah, that's the temple on Victoria Drive. Yeah, I went there for a long time. But yeah.
I wanted to take the hitchhike to Japan.
The flight, I don't know. We were in China. I just remember wanting to get out of China as soon as possible. We stop over in China, change flights.
Change flights.
And I just didn't feel comfortable in China. Like putting my hand on the screen, and I'm just like, what are they going to do to me?
Yeah.
I'm scared of China and Russia.
I would be too.
Fair ball.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah. You don't know what they're thinking and doing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like you've traveled so many places. That's just bloody amazing.
But mostly I've been to Vancouver for a super long time. I've been to Vancouver for a longer time than I've been anywhere else.
And what do you like about Vancouver? What do you?
It was the only feasible city that I had. Like I had enough familiarity with, having come here as a child. My grandparents were here, relatives were here, friends, and it was a place that I knew I could come to and would have like a safe reception for a little while anyways, that had a chance at sobriety. And I have been sober elsewhere, but this is always where it started and lasted.
Mm. That's interesting. So you find peace here.
Well, I find a lot of shit here, but it works for me. I don't even know how much I like it anymore, but it works for me. Somehow. It's just it's the city I'm in, and I'm content living in it.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of feel that way, right? Oh, I love and hate Vancouver.
Yeah.
East End's the best. I can't bear it.
Yeah. It's a love-hate kind of thing for the city.
For
The weather, definitely. Weather's so up and down like a yo-yo.
It's got some good.
But it's got some good stuff.
It's got Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie.
Here you go.
Bonnie?
That's my lady.
Okay.
My woman. She's my woman. I'm her man.
Yeah. So now you, like you said, you've got those 2 books done, and you got a third one on, a third and fourth on the way. And what are they going to be about?
Wait. What was that question that you wanted? That somebody asked?
Oh yeah. If anybody's interested in obtaining one of my books, like I'll give away one of each. If you can send to Ash.
Send it to this Facebook, wherever it is, whichever one of you it is, Facebook.
Yeah.
Send it to that.
Yeah.
Send a couplet from IKKYU, IKKYU.
Okay.
There you go. And our man Kent will send it along, and then we'll find you, and we'll get you your books. A couplet, please.
Very good. Very good books.
A couplet from IKKYU.
Yes.
I know, and Ned told me that earlier. It's like, you just want to keep the books, dude? But he believes. I believe.
Yeah.
So the new book is a book of love poems
Oh.
to the woman Nick, who I've been involved with for the past 10 or 11 months. And it's not unctuous, and it's not fatuous. I can just say those 2 things.
Ned style love poems.
Yeah. And I would like, if you don't mind, to read a little bit from my second book.
Please
Sure.
do.
Yeah.
I'll read the first one, I'll read another one that I quite like.
Strap in, everybody.
That's right.
This is about my hometown and about a woman that I met when I was back from university one year. We had a year-long relationship that was totally alcohol-fueled and really crazy, and we almost died a lot of times. Because she was driving all the time, we were pissed.
It's not good.
Yeah. Swim and ski town. He helps her put clothes on. Together they search for her shoes, aided by the numbers, red on black, of the alarm clock in the dark room. All because a human has to get up, to upend. What was it then? Those days of deep, tightly constellated trust, fringed by nights like pools one is punched in, blurring the shore darker still. He helps her because he might come back to hold her breasts as if his life depended on it. Whatever he thinks comes like a discourteous reminder of death in our swim and ski town. Just before he got out the door, the makeshift curtain and ochre cloth dropped slowly from the window frame and slid to the floor in gold folds. A first patch of sunlight fell across her face, and she stared her slim, watery stare. Please don't come back here, he thought. I wouldn't do it again, but did. 12 breaths. I was thinking of apple orchards the whole time. Fields of pink-white gold quilting the peninsula. Glass after glass of annihilated time. Whew!
That's cool.
Yeah, when I read that one, I was in that room for sure. That's nice, man.
That's really good.
Remember one time I said to you, I was like, Ned, you're bumming out about something, and I was like, Ned, you're the smartest guy I've ever met. And do you remember what you said?
No.
Fuck you. That's what you said. Anyway.
Okay, I want to read one that really relies on the lines themselves. Because this thing where, like, even I, like, for a long, not even I, but I would, like, for a long time not pay attention to the line lengths and not cut them off when I read them. Like, I would just read it like it was prose. Except it's the point of poetry is that it's not prose.
Yeah.
It's about the line breaks. So this is one that's about the line breaks too. Is that all right?
Yeah, dude.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Dark Blue Grass. I wrote this actually about a time when I came back from Africa. I flew to Newfoundland because my so-called family of origin were having a hippie reunion there, and this is about that time. Dark blue grass. There is a bird in, my eye in, my skull in, my chest in, a teardrop in, the violence of this world that countenances and confounds lost there, is a bird there, is flight without, content in, my pupil in, the contracted darkness in, the cave of my heart there is, a bird knowing, was in the confusion where the sacred body stumbled into, cold stone on, the beach on, the Newfoundland coast where I was drunk through the night with the others and found myself on a boulder ways off at dawn, waking up, not knowing how long I'd been sleeping, the sound of waves breaking, the others still gathered, still talking in the dawn light, but quieter now, the ether wearing off, drifting, still awake faces, drained eyes. Juan Julia was there. We held hands as we walked back to the house. There was moisture in the dark blue grass. It brushed against our legs as we walked.
I get what you're saying. I wasn't quite as deeply in there with you, but that's interesting.
It is very interesting.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's way different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Because the cadence isn't like it. It's, I hear what you're saying about the length of each line.
Well, it's sort of like
And then-
Percussive.
Yeah, dude. It's like
Yes,
like a
good
drum
word.
break. Yeah.
good. It's good work because it's more like this, right? You hear the ends. You know, like the part, like the period. Ah,
Yeah,
ah,
yeah.
ah, and it's good.
I
It's
missed
good.
some of the rhymes. I didn't get the rhymes, but
I got the feeling of it. I like what he did.
yeah, I'm just kidding about the rhyme.
It's good stuff.
So, if nobody, I mean, for the people who aren't the first to send a couplet from ICU,
Yeah.
where could they get these books?
They can order them from Guernica Editions online.
Guernica, with the big painting?
Yeah.
Nice. Guernica Editions,
That's the best place. I mean, you can get them from Amazon or other places too, but I'd say get them
go
from
to
Guernica.
the
source.
the real.
The real place. Yeah.
Go there, get these
That's
books.
so cool. I'm so.
Commit them to memory, and then you're sitting around hammered with your buddies and go, oh, I just had a thought, and then spew one of these out.
Oh, he can't. He can do it.
Yeah.
Places he's been everywhere. This guy's just like, wow.
I
I'm
know.
like totally blown. I am. Like you've done so much, and it's in a very short period of time.
Well,
You know what I mean? No, seriously, you have. I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Like that's fucking amazing. You've lived 5 lifetimes for some people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people didn't do half as much.
I've
It
been to
blows my
Cleveland.
fucking mind.
You ever been to Cleveland?
nope.
Well,
I have. So,
And you grew up in Niagara Falls.
I did.
yeah, so it's not that far of a stretch.
Was it St. Catharines or Niagara Falls?
Niagara Falls,
Not that far of a stretch, though.
right by the bridge, in fact.
How far is it from Cleveland to Niagara Falls?
Oh, that was, how long did it take? We went there to go to the Rock and Roll Hall
Oh,
of Fame.
man, I knew that was gonna be yes.
Maybe 8 hours or something.
8 hours, that's nothing.
Yeah, sure.
He goes all the way to China, and it goes to goes to Africa, goes to Tanzania. I mean, holy
I'm
shit.
just saying, he's never been to Cleveland.
What was Tanzania like? Do you remember? It was
Very colorful.
very colorful,
I
very
brought
third
back a
world
lot of-
country, right?
I brought back a lot of cloth.
Right, I would imagine so.
Um,
How was the food? Interesting?
good.
Yeah.
I like the food that I had when I went to I think we was going to Swaziland, and it was like this, like cornmeal potato kind of mash.
Oh, cool.
And you like roll it into a ball and put your thumb in it, and
Yes.
you dip it in the food.
And then you eat it like that, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, interesting how they do that stuff, eh? They eat with a lot with their hand. A lot of a lot of nationalities eat with their hands.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, more than you would think. You know, and we're stuck with this stupid thing of fork.
But you know, like, this is not really following the topic, but like, I just feel that poetry should be read way more often. Like,
Sure.
I love to read, and I love to hear others read, and it's transformative.
It is.
And it's here. Anytime we want to do it.
Too, isn't it?
Anytime we want to do it, we can just do it, but it's like hardly ever done. There's this slab of concrete in Pacific Spirit Park that I want to do a poetry reading on. It's huge. It's like the size of this whole of Robin Lee's Fan, yeah. And I think it would be sublime to do a poetry reading there.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so sometimes people like. I have a friend in Toronto, Claudio Gaudio, and yes, it's his real name.
It's a cool name.
And I have one of his books. It's called I'll Be. The other one's called Texas. And he writes prose. He reads, however, almost exclusively poetry. And it took me a while to get into his books. But once I did, I could kind of feel the energy, this restless and relentless searching and circling of something and never arriving. But he's such a good reader. Like, he reads and he's like, remember my old mentor Luciano before he passed was like, it's magnificent. It is magnificent. Like, it's awesome. And it's almost like it's a different art. Like, it's one, like, some people just write and want to read and like not speak out loud. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's really powerful.
That's pretty interesting.
You know what I get from it? I get it when you're reading.
Incantatory?
I get very calm.
Okay.
It's very calming to hear spoken poetry. You know what I mean? It calms me down. It makes me focus and makes me want to listen.
Well, it's like
You
the
know?
cave. Did you see
Seriously,
that?
it does.
Did you guys see that in the Cave interview with Stephen Colbert?
No.
No.
So fucking good, man. Nick Cave has really come around.
Yeah, he's all right, eh? He's getting there. Kid might make it somewhere. Hey, Nick Cave, you're probably watching, so come on down, because we think you might have a future.
No, but he was just saying, like, that music is one of the few last authentic experiences of transcendence that is available to us.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like the reading of poetry is like incantatory. Like, it has a ritual origin, like the bardic traditions. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Well, I was thinking about probably the only, or for the majority of people maybe, the only time that somebody reads to them is when you're little.
yeah.
When you're lying on your
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Do you read to your woman?
No.
Maybe you should.
I read to mine.
I've been to Cleveland. I'll read to Bonnie.
I just
will
think
read to Bonnie.
it's a
Now you're
it's a-
done.
Now you're gonna put on the spot.
It's a really nice thing to read to somebody.
Yeah, right.
It is,
I,
especially-
I haven't thought about that at all, except for when somebody used to read to me.
That's
I
right.
think. I
did
remember
they read to
reading
you?
to my
Well,
kids.
that's my son
No,
reads
I'm
to
just saying
his kids all the time.
Oh,
The
yeah?
school teacher, he reads to them all the time.
I read to
Yeah,
my kids every
and
day.
he likes it.
Yeah.
He likes doing it. He says it, brings them close to each other, right? You know, like they get close. There's a closeness there, right?
It was nice to read to the kids. The kids enjoyed it for sure. But you're right. And it was nice for me
Yeah.
to just do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice experience. And you're right about that. There is not enough of that. That's a good point, especially in today's world, where there's, it's almost like people don't have enough time to take that time to do those kind of things, right?
Even so,
Yeah.
right? Like, how long does it take you to read one of those poems? A minute? 2 minutes?
Couple minutes. Can I read one more?
No.
Yes.
Sweet. That's my favorite part. He served in the court of the Empress Seville, across the lake from Sheba. He brought her his shambles and the evening till. Highwaymen looked coldly at his passing form. Children mocked his old uncovered name. He thought, what am I doing, as he sewed her clothes? He thought, I am dismaying the stones and the hills. I am displaying rudimentary consciousness. The vagrant moon cast him a violent purple look. Where does treason go? It repairs the hearts of enemies and seals the lips of estuaries, where seagulls spin their angled shapes over stranded minnows and time escapes. The purple curtain with its treasured ungodliness is next year's choice of shoes. So scars are trodden into oblivion by infants. A glint of shamelessness in the smiles of snuffed lives is passed over by a barista and lingers in bird calls as snow settles on a thin gray tree. By a stream forded at the onset of pitch-colored pig dogs popular on iPhone, its banks glowing with Earth's restrooms. He who loses his enemy loses his treasure. He who balks at transcendence shuffles up the street at noon. He wept once on a long flight, loved beautiful, violent women, superlative, superfluous. He auditioned for an opera about ransom, drank Gatorade from a gallon jug, and ran at the Sphinx. Someone slipped him a pill. He expunged a gamey pheasant from the underbrush where another lay drunk. He even took his hand. He even helped him stand up and accompanied him to the Bible store. The man in the dream asked him, "Do you have the humility to save us?" He trusted him. Did he have the temerity? He had the infirmity. Did he? He lacked harshness. And more than that, he lacked forbearance and planning. Sheba killed the empress, blotted him some hard knocks, but always shut up his devastation with maidens. She told him to become his problems, become his enemies. Then he wouldn't have any. He would have the peace of reckless cessation and live on lordly Greece and imaginary eddies in her favor. He had to get out of the bird bath all at once, every time he fell in. The balcony over the garden was leaning and could collapse on young children playing below at any time, in the dead of night, in the heart of day, in small hours of averted life. Everything is okay. Love is any agreement. If the water runs out, you can drink shampoo. Since nobody comes, nobody leaves. You can do something with your bodies if you want to, for nowhere in the sky is there anything more. Nobody will cry out except the apprentices at the psych ward, and only the first few times. I am he, and despite these dreary untruths, somehow I still want you to be here, not just you, a true lover or friend. I wasn't tough to deepen, despite my blood-red failures and the glue in my eyes. Or I mean I want to be here, still moved, unindifferent to the pain that makes money, and would like to counteract, cast a ribald glance at squirrels, walk gallantly to the park to perform my daily ablutions. Wishing to be caressed or assessed by certain humans, cordial to the maw and completely ignored by others. Keep the wine near at hand. We have to work early. There is a spine tree. You only get one per capita. All bending, abdication, and horse eating are pre-approved. You did what? We have a place for you. Lastima, que lastima, quid pro quo. To the League Against Recalcitrance and horsehair hovering over the evil thing, whatever human filament of degradation you're linked to, I vow to do the cleaning myself with some help. A silkworm for the hawk, a footpath for the dew when summer comes.
That was good.
That's beautiful, dude.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's very beautiful. Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful sight word.
Strong words, strong words.
Yeah.
Very strong words.
Yeah. We were thinking about, or Ned and I have been talking about, maybe we should have a little poetry reading here
Yes,
at the barber shop.
I think so.
I think we should too.
Yeah,
I'd like to do it on a Saturday when it's lots of people.
yeah.
Or just me. Because it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty
It's like,
cool.
I can always watch
Can I come too?
Yeah.
Jesus, that's great. I love it. I love this. Has been lots of fun.
Yeah.
And it's an eye opener for me.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
So when can we expect book number 3 and 4?
The third one, it's possible within the next year. Fourth, I have no idea.
Yeah. But the next one's going to be all about love and stuff like that.
They're like devotional love poems.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Good stuff.
Yeah. And nice that you're in love.
That is.
Pretty decent.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
Oh, it can always hurt.
Well, that's true.
Love hurts, yeah.
Love hurts, yeah.
I
Yeah, I spoke too soon, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This was fun today. And thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your great poetry.
Thanks, Ned.
And Ned, that's fantastic.
Look
Thank
at
you.
his haircut. I cut his hair. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye,
Take care,
everybody.
everybody. Peace out. We'll see you soon.